Okay, so let me just give you a quick walkthrough then. So this was our plan. I already said, right? This is today's session and then three more sessions we have as per schedule. I know you have all these details, right? Day one, we did some administrative aspects where we tried understanding at the complete landscape, cloud computing, share responsibility, evolution of SAP cloud landscape, and what are different solutions we have in cloud and how BTP is helping them or to do a lot of technical activities. Okay, and some corresponding cloud and on-premise solution mapping and also how BTP is helping for your on-premise landscape as well, like for developing automation or integrations or doing data analytics or all those things. And we had a look on some administrative responsibilities, what basis people supposed to do on a cloud landscape. Okay. Then on day two, we focused on security stuffs where we understood the IAM part of it. You know what is IAM? Just quick view, guys. We have new batches for these training starting. So development, we are starting today a new batch. Identity access governance, administration, security, planning, SAC planning, Signavio, and BTP DevOps. These are the dates. You can maybe block your calendar if you want to learn. You can inquire with us. We understood what is identity and access management, what is identities, and there are two different types of identities. We also understood what are the components of IAM, authentication, authorization, identity lifecycle, how the traditionally we were doing the IAM where we need to remember different email IDs, different password, but we implemented identity provider where we make sure that all identities are one place and we are authenticating with only one user ID and password against one identity provider, which is trusted by all the applications we have in landscape. Okay, we looked at it, what all the different things we have in landscape where we need to manage the identity access management, right? Or SAP developed solutions or technical solutions developed by SAP running on BTP, custom solutions developed by customer, SAP acquired solutions or platform itself where it is running like your BTP platform itself, identity access management of that. Then we looked at what tool SAP provides, which is Cloud IT Services, which has these three capabilities: IES, IDS, IPS, and also authorization management for some custom applications where developer allow to do that in IAS. Okay, so we also looked at what all different security solutions we have in on-premise and corresponding cloud solutions. We looked at the thing, right? The modern IAM where we have IES, which is helping in the same way for all SAP cloud systems. We looked at some architectural point of view, how technically the IES and IPS IDs looks like, where we found IES was a common persistence layer for IES and IPS both. Okay, which is identity directory service, and this is the whole reason why we SAP clubbed IES IPS in one system because they wanted to have single persistence layer for both of them. Okay, then we looked at some use case where IES as a main identity provider, IES as a custom proxy identity provider, where we are getting Azure AD, Okta, or Google IAM, any one of them, maybe in landscape, and making sure that our user data is maintained there and we are authenticating through them. And IES is just working as a proxy and rewriting the request. We understood what is risk-based authentication, what is conditional authentication with multiple identity provider and landscape. Then some applications may use some users may use a third-party identity provider, and maybe you have multiple third-party identity providers. So how you can achieve that with IAS? We understood what is IPS source system target system framework, why we need a transformation, and what is IDS common schema, which is where the transformations happens. And then we had a look on source target framework with IES also in a place where you may have a user source which is SuccessFactors, SAP IDM or Azure AD, and you are replicating the user using IPS to IES, and then IES itself working as a main identity provider and having you have a launchpad as well prepared on Build Work Zone. This whole how the whole setup works. I explained it yesterday. Okay, so then proxy system framework we understood. Then also we understood what is IAG, what it does, and IAG implementation diagram, and where IAG and GRC both will work as IAG bridge. This also we tried understanding. And we understood what is authorization, how authorization works on SAP Cloud, and we tried understanding a bit about OAuth server. I know it was not so detailed, but I just give you overview. And what is the responsibility of security consultant in cloud? what all things like BTP platform security, pre-delivered application security, BTP dependent application security, acquired solution security, custom application security, designing technical roles, WAUth implementation, managing the business roles, and then IEG implementation, functional configuration, and administrative configuration, which even can be a part of this also, right? And set up IEG with GRC. So this is what we have done, guys. And today we are targeting our uh, application development. Okay, extension development, I would say, not application development. So there are videos for cap and wrap. Definitely, when you develop the extensions on cloud, you always use those cap, wrap, or maybe your freestyle extension development. So definitely Jay is going to take further sessions, and in which these are the topics we are going to cover. So Jay, over to you. Please go ahead.
Today we are going to talk about extensions development for SAP on-premise and cloud systems. And extensions is basically when you try to alter how the standard SAP behaves, standard ERP behaves. By far, if you want to go ahead and look into the history a little bit, the old approach to extension development was via this in-house um, programming language called ABAP. Uh, Previously, the main route for extension and development in ECC was ABAP programming and the related objects. You may have produced functional specifications for extensions if you're a functional, and developments if you're a developer in past. Now, developers, if there are any among us, used to have SEAT, the ABAP workbench for BADIs, SE19. Extensions were done in customer exits, which are also called function module exits or screen exits and menu exits and so on. There used to be business transaction events or BTEs or business add-ins and table enhancements like append structures for and this is all like history now mostly because extensions have to somehow replicate to the front end these days. Now, for new developments, the ABAP language in ECC allows a lot of freedom, right? Meaning best practices is not always followed. You could essentially do whatever you want. These classic methods can impact, subsequent upgrades to the core software and make large ECC upgrade projects long and resource hungry. And if we have developers among us, uh, in olden days when SAP used to get upgraded, a new version used to come in. Developers had to sit, for weekends and probably longer week hours to make sure after the upgrade everything was fine, because there was a whole process of SPAU and SPDD to make everything as is as it was previously. Upgrades also used to be a huge task for SAP to maintain and manage, and SAP had to come up with modification assistants and multiple other frameworks to take care of the upgrades and the customizations post upgrade. Now, this since long this has been going on, and then came the concept of the approach to keep the ECC or S4 or whatever is your central ERP clean, and they called it keep the core clean. Now, motivated by this and the hardships people all across the globe have been following while upgrading or even while extending the standard SAP software to their needs or to their business needs, people have been trying to come up with a very standard solution which could probably cater to all the requirements and all the problems that we face while extending as well as while keeping up with the extensions, which means once you have modified the standard SAP solution to a certain custom customer needs. Let's say a software used to behave in a certain way, and you change the behavior of that software. You would like to keep it that way. But let's say if an upgrade happens, a new version comes in, you would not like your customization to go away. In your phones, if you have changed your wallpaper or if you have changed the way your menu icons look, every time a new version of your OS on the phone comes in, you don't want everything to get changed. Your settings should stay intact. You wouldn't like if your contacts went away, or you wouldn't like if your phone entirely resets every time you accept an upgrade from Android or Apple. So it's the exact same thing, but it's way more complicated with ERPs, because of which SAP has come up with the whole new extension suite. It's not new, let's say. It's kind of a few years down the line now, but in retrospect, it's comparatively newer. SAP and SAP ecosystem now advocates an approach called keep the core clean. This means migrating to and adopting new approaches to extend a standard SAP solution. Now, one thing to note here, some of these approaches that we are about to talk about uh, are for standard life in a public cloud version of SAP S/4HANA, where SAP executes software upgrades multiple times every year. Because if you're working in public cloud, SAP takes over to take care of the upgrades. Uh, they are now also available in S/4HANA on-premise and cloud private editions. But the only difference is that you or your client's in-house infrastructure or SI partners, or if you're the client yourself, your in-house infrastructure and your in-house partners will have to take care of the upgrade as well as the post-upgrade um, repercussions. Now, where possible, extensions in S/4HANA core systems are done using three major techniques these days. One is in-app extensibility. The second is side-by-side extensibility in BTP Extension Suite. This is carried out with the SAP Cloud Platform, which I talked about in the beginning, the SAP BTP, which is also known as SAP Business Technology Platform. And then the third one is developers extensibility, which is basically for cloud ABAP environment embedded with S/4HANA, or which is also called as embedded steampunk since 2022, since 2022 decade actually. So we'll talk about them briefly, and but before we start, like I said, BTP has been in the center of all this. It's like in the spotlight. Also, could be because SAP wants to sell it, but majorly because in theory, if you kept your extensions outside your actual core, upgrading the standard application becomes easier, right? So if you look at this architecture here, you have SAP on-prem systems or SAP developed cloud solutions or SAP acquired solutions, which could be Ariba, SuccessFactors, Concur, or Signavio for that matter. Everything can be extended on SAP BTP via different technologies and different programming models available there, respectively. When I say respectively, I mean, not everything fits everything, right? Not every t-shirt size for all kinds of solutions. You need a sword where you need a sword. You need a pen where you need a pen. So, as for SAP, for example, SAP on-prem systems or S/4HANA on-prem systems or ECC systems for that matter, which intrinsically are developed in ABAP, the entire core, you need ABAP to be able to extend these solutions. And then comes the RESTful ABAP programming model, or ABAP on cloud. I talked about Steampunk embedded to S/4HANA Cloud previously. Now we are talking about Steampunk standalone, not embedded, just an ABAP environment. So in BTP, you have ABAP Cloud environment available, which is basically ABAP environment standalone without the workbench and the standard transactions, just the ABAP runtime and the ABAP programming language, which can be used to extend S/4HANA on-premise or ECC on-premise. Similarly, you also have different tools available like SAP Business Application Studio, and various other SaaS solutions like connectivity service or destination service or XSUAA service, which with the help of cloud application programming model can allow you or your developers or your SI partners develop these extensions depending on the respective scenarios. So I will not go into the details of these because it's a whole new world in itself. But what I want you to take from here is that okay, if you're today or your clients are working on SAP on-premise solution, it keep the core clean and extend outside your core applies to you. And similarly, it applies to you even if you're working on S/4HANA public cloud or S/4HANA private cloud, or even if you would like to extend any of the SAP acquired tertiary systems like Ariba or SuccessFactors. Any questions so far? I'll pause here for a moment.
Jay, one question.
Mhm.
So these SAP developed cloud solutions, like for example, SAP IAG, which is a SaaS application, right?
Mhm.
So where
Mhm.
the development is completely in the hands of SAP, right? So
Mhm.
how does this extension development is possible on SaaS applications?
So, um, so for this, right, and you might not call it extension, but the side extension approach, which we are going to talk about in some time, kind
Mm-hmm.
of covers that. So, if it's okay, we'll reach there and talk about it then. Side by side extension basically means that you kind of overtake the standard and build to your own front end on top of it.
Okay, maybe yeah, we can talk in detail when we reach there. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Mhm. Okay, moving on. So a basic overview. Why do we need extensions? We all know that a standard solution does not fit everybody, and we would like to extend. Uh, and like I have been saying, SAP ECC or SAP S/4HANA or even a non-SAP solution can now be integrated with Business Technology Platform or SAP BTP, and via side-by-side extensions can be built on this standard solution there. Similarly, if you're building on top of any SAP applications or SAP non-SAP applications, that can also be done on BTP, which results into this whole concept of intelligent enterprise, which allows you to carry out your upgrades later on without a problem. Makes your business agile and innovate faster. Uh, and obviously it's not intelligent just for that, because new and new SaaS solutions keep coming in onto SAP BTP, so you can always extend your solution into new ways. So extension development on the basis of the target systems. If you look at this diagram that I have here, so in the middle, right? I have what we need to develop, right? At the bottom is where we deploy. On the top, in the green dotted box, I have the provisioning solutions, and on the left and right, I have connect and operate, right? So if you look at it look at the whole glossary, that you could have a third-party solution, you could have other SAP solutions, you could have the solutions like Ariba, Fieldglass, Concur, SuccessFactors, or you could have the SAP S4 ECC systems. You could have the cloud or the on-premise system. Now, this extension suite or extension development target systems, on the basis of extension target system, you could track the development environment where this should go, right? So if you want to talk about build, most of these, or actually all of these, can go into SAP BTP Cloud Application Programming Model or RESTful ABAP Programming Model. For development, you could use the Eclipse-based ADT tools if you're working on RESTful ABAP Programming Model. If you're working on CAPM or Cloud Application Programming Model, you could use the Business Application Studio or Visual Studio Code for your build phase. There are a few other possibilities like LCAP or NCAP, low-code application development platforms, or no-code application development platforms that can be used for build. Mendix used to be it needs to be edited, but it's taken from SAP. So Mendix used to be a very shout out partner for SAP to build no code and low code applications, but SAP has their own tool now, which is a whole SaaS umbrella inside SAP BTP called SAP Build. It comes up with another flavor called SAP Build Apps, which is basically a low-code application development platform, which kind of replaces Mendix here in this whole scheme of things. It also overlooks on top of SAP Process Automation, which is now SAP Build Process, and which also takes in SAP Workflows, where you can build your automations, SAP Build Process Automations and SAP Build Processes, and the business rules. So SAP Build kind of takes over on the configure piece here. We'll edit that, but SAP Build is a business suite again, available on SAP BTP, and you have multiple offerings there. Ones would allow you to build a CAPM build a low-code application. The others would allow you to build workflows or process automations and so on. So that's about the build, right? Once you have built your application or an extension on top of any of these inside the Connect box, you could go ahead and deploy in multiple runtimes available on SAP BTP. Again, SAP BTP allows you to have application runtimes, serverless runtime, schema runtime, and ABAP runtime. So these are all deployment strategies available on SAP BTP. And then once deployed, you could also provision or host these applications on SAP Fiori Launchpad via identity and access management and API management. You could host your public APIs. Fiori Launchpad on SAP BTP is known as SAP Work Zone Standard Edition. There is another one called Advanced Edition. It's basically SAP Fiori Launchpad on steroids. Also, the whole operations of these applications or these life cycles we talked about can be handled on SAP BTP intrinsically if you're interested in the DevOps side of the applications or the extensions you will be building in SAP BTP. And these are taken care with the help of the services like DevOps Planner, CICD service, or SAP Cloud CTMS service, alert notification service, automation pilot. And there are a few open source tools also available, like the Piper project, which is kind of an open source version of the CICD service. So that would be the the target development environment, an overview of if you're talking about any of these on the left hand side, a third-party solution ranging from a third-party solution to S/4HANA Cloud. What would you choose as your build box, and where would you deploy, and how would you provision, and how would you look at the operations of these applications you'll be building. Similarly, this was an overview for how would you choose the development environment and the operations for any of the extensions you're building. How would you choose the target extensibility scenario? So when working with SAP, like I said, you could either be building in-app extensions or you would be building side-by-side extensions. We will talk about the third one in a bit, but so here the green ones represent the in-app extensions, and the orange one represents the side-by-side extensions, and the blue ones are representing the ones which are taken care by the SAP themselves. So if for now, before we go and talk about them in detail specifically, for now, just understand it in a way that in-app extensions are wherein you are extensively going ahead inside the application and explicitly changing the application. But side-by-side extensibility is the approach wherein you take over the standard APIs or standard backend, and even fronted in some cases, and build your own version on the sides, leaving the standard piece untouched, right? So you take an inspiration from the standard, you target the standard APIs and standard backend, but you build your own layer on top of that. So that's a very top bird's eye view of it. But if you look at here, if you want to work, if you want to build a custom interface, right? If you want to entirely change a Fury app depending on your customer or your client's needs, you want to entirely change the auditor service behind it. You want to entirely build that auditor service new, or to an extent newer comparatively, and you want to build or add new database tables or custom tables also, or if you would like to add custom fields into standard tables, that comes under the purview of custom business objects, and that would be called in-app extensibility. So the extent of upgrades, if it is very impactful, because you're going ahead and adding custom fields until the database layer, so you're kind of affecting the whole chain of the application, then it will fall under in-app extensibility. Now the blue ones, like if the database table stays and the application layer on top of it, which is built in either ABAP or CDS, stays. Just a second. Sorry, I'll look at it later. Sorry. So now the auditor service on top of your application layer stays as well, and if the Fury application also stays, and but there are slight modifications, then you would see an overlap between what SAP provides and what you would like to build. But on the far right side, right, if you would like to have a custom user interface, but the SAP backend kind of stays the same, there are slight upgrades. You're going to call the SAP Cloud Platform Service, or you're going to call the S/4HANA service as is. You could also build your architecture on the basis of events integration via Event Mesh, which is again a SaaS solution available on SAP BTP. You would like to orchestrate the existing SAP database to SAP Cloud Platform and use it side by side together with the standard tables. And in that case, you fall under the SAP side by side extension purview. All of this can be served or provisioned with the help of a central Fury Launchpad, either on SAP on-premise or SAP BTP, and your customers will not notice the difference that where the app is coming from. It is possible that they go to the Fury Launchpad, they will have two applications, one custom, one standard. The custom points to the SAP BTP and the standard points to S/4HANA Cloud. I'll pause here again. Any questions? Did I not understand? Hello? Was it scrambled for everybody or just me?
Yeah, for everyone.
Okay. If you can ask again, please. I could not get it.
Jay, would you like to give an example for in-app extensibility and side-by-side extensibility for more clear understanding?
So yeah, this is more general in terms, but to be very okay. So if you would like to an example, right? So on S4, let's say, if we have an application called Manage Business Partners, right? So if you would like to, let's say, if you just want to change the UI of it, right? You wanna change a little bit. Although this can be done with the key user extensibility, which is a third approach not mentioned here, but we are not talking about that right now, right? So if you would just want to change the UI a little bit, make it more colorful and define new personas and all that, you could still use the whole backend scenario, the whole backend OData service and the usual OData projects and the database tables. The application layer also stays the same no matter which technology it is developed in. You just change the top layer, deploy it on SAP BTP, and host it on probably a central launchpad, either on-premise or on cloud. That's basically the side-by-side extension. You don't want to change a lot at times, but then even if you want to change a lot, like you want to build your whole solution, you want to build a um, new kind of a role parallel to the whole business partners solution, right? If you want to, let's say, I want to build a custom table which should relate to probably a business partner general table. I want to extend my business partners to a new dimension and then build an app on top of it. I also want to, so when I go into this application, I should be able to create a business partner, but that data should also flow to a custom table, let's say, if there is a requirement like that. So then you go into SAP core and then change it all, extend it starting from the table. Or what I can do is I can build that custom table on SAP BTP in the HANA Cloud Service and build an auditor service on top of it, either using ABAP on cloud or using Cloud Application Programming Model. And I can consume the standard service from S4, and I can collate it together and build one integrated service on top of it, and I can build my custom application on top of that that combined service. So that becomes my side-by-side extension because it will be catering to both the solutions without touching the actual core application. On the other hand, if you would actually like to go ahead and add certain fields, one field probably in customer master, uh, then you would go ahead with the custom business object and then do in-app extensibility because you just want to add one field or two fields and append structure and then carry out that extension to the application layer and the auditor layer and then on the custom UI. That makes sense?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Thanks, Jay.
Ajay, and this is to this side.
Yeah.
Actually, then what's the relevance of this in-app extensibility? Because this is the normal way we change things in S4, right? Doing the
Yes.
things on the application. So what's the new with the concept in-app extensibility? And why don't we call it just side-by-side extension is a new functionality then? Because
Okay.
that is what we do on a daily basis, right? Like with the S4. So
With
what's with
S4,
new with the cloud?
the new is like it's a very long answer actually, but let me try and attempt it. So the green part here, right, which I talked about, you're saying, if I understood it correctly, that's our daily routine. If somebody comes with a customer comes to you with a requirement that, okay, I want a custom field in the customer master table, and I want it to be available on my T code also, or I want it to be available on my Fiori app also. So when I go ahead and create a customer, I should be able to update this custom field also. So that's the green part on the left hand, the extreme left hand side,
Yeah.
which is the in-app
Yeah.
extensibility, right? This is what we do every day. Uh, we could, you, and more or less a variation of this, right? It could be adding few fields in IDOC, or it could be adding a whole new tab in any of the transaction codes, right? It's the variations of this idea only. But uh,
Yep.
on the far right hand side, uh, which I am proposing as side by side extension, and not me, SAP proposes as side by side extension,
Yeah.
is a whole
Using wrap and all.
is there using wrap or cap, is
Mm-hmm.
a way more extensive development. Let's say, uh, so you have are you a technical or a functional?
I'm a developer. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say if a business requirement comes in on sales orders, a very simple scenario, that as soon, so we know that, so we are aware of bill of materials also. I'm sorry if anybody is not, but in SAP, when one material is comprised of multiple materials, right? When you're building a phone, it will have a screen, a keypad, and then it will have a memory, a chipset, and all that would become the bill of material of your phone. So that's the actual gist of it. So so that's what I am referring to for those who are not aware of it. But let's say I'm trying to punch a sales order. I want to order one phone, right? And usually, while purchase in the standard solution, it does not happen that I'll go and check the stock of the whole components, all the components of, or uh, all the all the child components of the phone, if there is stock available for them or not. Because if I am making to order, I would have to build it after the sales order is purchased. A sales order is punched. So what if there is a customer requirement saying that as soon as I punch a sales order and if I type in a material, you need to go ahead and check all the components of this, um, and see if the stock is available for all the components. If it is so, then change it on runtime, and rather than as soon as I type or punch in phone, it should include all the sub components of that material, and they're available as per their available stock. I'll probably modify the required stock. Did you get it? Like if I
Yeah.
am trying to create a sales
Yeah.
order, as soon as I type that I want probably a folding Samsung Galaxy 6, and as soon as I press enter, it should flip it and add all the sub components of the phone in the order.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a
So
catch. So I don't want to maintain this. So few of these components which I will maintain are not standard. Few of them are not fitting my requirement of the standard BOM. So I will create a Z table and maintain it there. Now
okay.
there comes the
So
catch.
okay. So this is like all the new things that features are available are on the side by side extensibility. But
So
my
what I
in
what
doubt
I
is
can
the yeah.
so how I will achieve this by side extension, right? The whole
Mm.
idea was that I don't want to change the standard code, right? The whole idea was to achieve this, and I also want to cater to what my customers need or my clients need. So what I will do is I will go ahead and create this Z tables, or the whole Z tables to maintain components on SAP BTP HANA Cloud, and build a service on top of it. Now you can choose, you want to build it in RAP or CAP. So you want to build a service on top of it. You also have this standard service already available, the OData service, the managed sales order probably. I don't remember the name. Now what I can do is I can expose this service to BTP from S4, and I can take my other service that I built on BTP itself. Now CAPM allows you, Cloud Application Programming Model, which is another programming model on SAP BTP, allows you to build hybrid services, which is only possible because it is very much into microservice based architecture, hybrid services. And I'm sorry, but it can also be done in RAP using uh, RAP, I think, custom entities. But CAPM is more probably um, would probably a tiny bit faster, but you could do it in both the places in a jest, and you can build one service on top of it, and then that service can be used to build a custom UI on top of it. Even if you wanted two services, UI 5 can consume two independent services. And then what will happen is I will achieve a custom UI, which could also be an extension of this standard app. Uh, and I will achieve this requirement also, and I will not touch any of the standard component as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, there is a query in the chat as well. If you can take that.
Even in this clean code during upgrades, does this extensibility have to be adjusted or handled? If SAP releases a standard functionality for the long-running custom extensions we are using, do we have to stop this and start using SAP? And how does this transition happen? Yeah, so existing solutions, right? Obviously, there is a technical debt, um, relatively larger technical debt associated with the existing solution, right? Existing extensions. So there are various architectural ways, depending on the complexity of it, on how to attend to the existing extensions. Uh, you don't have to. So when you say, is it a must that I need to change it to the newer ways of extensions? You don't have to, but it's advised to go to any of the newer paradigms as soon as possible. It will not stop working overnight if you're saying so. It will still keep the way you are working, but then again, uh, in the end, when you upgrade, you will have to adjust the SPAU and SPDD as we have been doing previously. On the other case, if you have followed any of the new paradigms, it will be taken care by the modification assistant, and you don't have to do any of these adjustments in most of the cases. I hope that answers. So you don't have to stop, but SAP is very heavily telling you that, okay, the best practice is to stop, and the best practice is to move to the new paradigms. So yeah, again, probably if you would like to sum it all up and then look at it from a very top perspective, very bird's eye view, the two extremes that we have been talking about in terms of development environment and in terms of the solutions it caters to, and in terms of who would be working on it, and in terms of probably trying to find a thumb rule on which extensibility of which extensibility methodology to choose in which case. You could probably summarize into two extremes of in-app extensions or cloud extensions, or which could also be called as side-by-side extensions. And then you could, if you would like to, define the steps for them, it would look like this: that in case of in-app extensions, you add a database object to your tables, you add application logic. If you want to build, you could create forms or email templates on top of it. You can expose new data, create custom analytics on top of it, or adopt a new user interface. And then there is a slight overlap on top of developer extensions and in-app extensibility there. And on the other on the other side, the side-by-side extensibility involves, the whole new world of innovating and then AI and ML related services and the other technology innovations available on SAP BTP can be incorporated in your application. Now, talking about who would be doing these extensions? Who, like in your operations, you might be having developers and you'll have functionals and technicals, and you might have some techno-functionals as well. You might have some key users or power users who are technically literate, or let's say tech savvy power users. So if you would like to create like these three people into three boxes, you will have developers or techno functionals, or you will have key users. So a developer on the cloud side would be responsible for SAP BTP side-by-side extension. A developer on the on-premise side would be responsible for developer extensibility and SAP S/4HANA Cloud. And then a key user or a business user or a power user or a functional probably could work on a key user extensibility approach, though these do have some overlaps, and there are some scenarios wherein a functional doing key user extensibility would need a technical to be involved, and then vice versa. And then all these three approaches can be integrated with the help of the APIs or user interface, workflows, the SAP Build, which involves process, and then the event mesh or data replications via probably integration suite. Now, if you are or if you're aiming to be an SAP BTP developer, your responsibilities would be to to be aware of cloud native full stack application development on SAP BTP using either Cloud Application Programming Model or RESTful ABAP Programming Model. There is an application on the lifecycle called NCLC. You should be aware of that on SAP BTP. You should be aware of how would you deploy an application on different environments available on SAP BTP. SAP BTP provides you with 4 different kinds of environments: Cloud Foundry, ABAP environment, and Schema runtime. And then the 4th one is actually Neo. Neo environment is being sunsetted, so not available in future. So usually people don't talk about it in any of the future perspectives. You should also be aware of the SAP BTP microservices management and building an MTA based application. You should be able to build extensions, which we are talking about right now. Extension development for cloud, on-premise SAP S4 solutions using the programming models available. And across these 4 environments that I talked about, you have 2 programming models. So first was the development environments, and then the second I'm talking about the programming models, Cloud Application Programming Model and RESTful ABAP Programming Model. And you also have something called Build Apps, which is an LCAP NCAP solution. All these together would allow you to build in-app extensions or side-by-side extensions, depending on if you're working on private cloud or if you're working on public cloud. Few of the additional responsibilities you could have is administering the Cloud Foundry or the Schema environments or the BTP DevOps. Now there are different roles to it. There could be a DevOps engineer with you who would take care of the BTP DevOps, but it also depends on projects. In certain projects, it would be a developer's responsibility to take care of the developments and operations.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. I hope it was a bit
Thanks,
quick.
Ankit.
Yeah. So guys, definitely if you're a developer, you really should target DevOps. because in SAP you don't have a DevOps profile previously. Okay, and it's something new which really make you away from a crowd. Okay. So I know you are a developer, you definitely can upskill, can go in deep of things. But still, if you take the DevOps skills, it will definitely give you good exposure to your profile and the chances of having a change in your job would be easier because right now, if you look at the market, you will really find very less people knowing BTP DevOps. Okay. So I would suggest to go ahead and at least upskill on DevOps as well, along with the development. So, guys, will this there are two workshop already done on administration and security. We'll upload the recording here, and also there is a playlist for DevOps here. Okay, in our channel, go and search mentor school. Maybe it'll be easy for you. You get it. Okay. And here, if you wanted to know about DevOps, you have 5, 6 small videos. DevOps, continuous integration, continuous delivery, transport management, application logging service, alert notification service. These are, I'll just let me ping you and you can get it from the chat. Okay. So you can get some idea about DevOps from here. And we also have a playlist for this development, which is this one. It has some basics of BTP administration, which gives you overall good idea on how to use a service, how to subscribe a service, how to entitle. And then you have some more videos on security, like how to create roles and authorizations, or some more hands-on deep dive into Node.js, ABAP, and some case studies are discussed. Right. So there are some videos here which you can again go ahead and refer it. And just to let you know, guys, we are starting a batch for BTP development with CAP today only in evening. If you guys are interested, and Jai would be the trainer for this, and he will take this end-to-end batch. If you're interested, you can go ahead and join our sessions. We have two more workshops pending. No code, low code application development, which is again would be something right session for you. So I would request you to please go ahead and join that as well. So this we have build code and SAP Joule, which is really really important for you if you wanted to generate the codes. If you want to generate the codes, whatever you application developing, or you want to use a generative AI functionality tool so that it can help you to get the codes even by writing some commands. So it is very interesting session for you. Please do join. And also we have low code, no code application development where build apps we have, which will have a look how we can utilize this, and also build work zone where we can develop launchpad, right? Or we can develop some Fury applications without writing a single line of code and consume the services from backend systems, on these Fury apps. Okay, so please do join these. And last session also is a very good idea about a lot of scenarios we can do on BTP. If I log in into BTP, we have a system landscape where we can add the systems, a lot of cloud systems for different scenarios, like this side-by-side extensibility or eventing between the systems. So there are multiple scenarios. We'll have a look on that, how we can use it, because there is no content available in the market, for at least those things. So I wanted to let community know and understand what all things you can achieve by that. Okay. Or if you wanted to have a look on table of content, I can maybe quickly show you here. So this is our CAP, table of content, where we'll start with what is cloud computing, try understanding BTP and Cloud Foundry architecture, because this complete BTP runs on Cloud Foundry. So we'll try understanding this on a per pound platform perspective of it. But on the application development perspective, we'll again understand Cloud Foundry environment and Kaima ABAP environment, what we have available here. We'll try understanding what are different microservices are available, which provides functionality to your application when you're developing, understanding, all these stuffs, managing the sub account, managing the services, and administrating or, deploying the applications, or and doing some tasks in Cloud Foundry using CLI, then Business Application Studio where we'll write a code, some security stuffs where we as a developer need to add create roles, authorizations, and then we'll understand how we do it right in our access security JSON descriptor file what we have. We'll try understanding the app routers, and then we'll go into the Node.js. We'll also give you some basics of Node.js. We at least want you to understand the development of any programming language, at least so you understand the basics, right? What is the data type, what is a syntax, and how the so if you understand that, you'll definitely be able to cope up here quickly, because we'll then anyway give you some idea basics of this Node.js and all. Then we'll target the cap. We'll do really detailed sessions on this. And anyway, we'll utilize Node.js here while doing the cap. Okay. We'll pick up an app and we'll build it end to end and show you, one small application, and send then Fury elements for your front end capabilities and multi-target application development, and at then connectivity, how your application can go ahead and consume things from your on-premise systems used through Cloud Connector and exposing the resources or services, right? And also, if there is any one or two custom scenarios you would request during the session to be implemented, definitely Jay can do it. So Jay has a very good understanding on cap, wrap, both. So right now, just a month back, we delivered 138 hours of training only on cap. So he went so depth, and 98 hours of training on wrap. Okay, so he can go in any depth, which I am not saying is a part of this, but yeah, definitely if we'll ask one or two scenarios which we take over, let's say 2 hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours extra time, as per a mutual agreement, we can even add those as well, as per your requirement. Okay, or else this is what the plan is, and then we have a wrap as well, which is a detailed course, right? So again, basics of BTP, which is a common, and then wrap introduction, behavior definition concept, behavioral implementation concepts, entity manipulation language, managed process processor app, and actions determination, introduced draft argument, okay, and approver scenarios, custom entities, and wrap security, deployment, and extensibility. So this is our wrap content which we have, which will follow after we'll complete the cap. Okay, so this is what the plan I have. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. Any more queries, guys? Or if you're interested in any other course, right? Let's say even we can do extension like, okay, so extension don't suit is just approach, right? But you utilize your cap and wrap knowledge here, and just the persona will be different, right? You have a target system for that you are doing it. So all your knowledge, what you'll do in cap and wrap, you're going to utilize here. Okay, or else if you're looking for, let's say, build process automation, build apps, or administration security, we have courses for all of them. Can you please share the details for CAP, and SAP basis consultant also done BTP DevOps? So guys, why I say BTP DevOps? BTP DevOps, okay, so DevOps normally is a quite big topic. Okay, but on BTP, it's a managed service. They have provided managed. So what are the complexity you have, DevOps complexity at infrastructure level, or installing the tool, setting up the tool? SAP have abstracted that and have made it very easy for you to use it on BTP. Okay, so even someone who is not from development background really can learn DevOps. So even administrators also can learn DevOps. Developers also can learn the DevOps. So that's why this is a course which will actually keep you away from the crowd. Okay. If you say, even as a basis consultant, I know DevOps, even as a basis consultant, you are the one who will design the infrastructure for DevOps, right? Like setting up the complete account model, centralized DevOps account model. So, anyways, you are doing halfway. So why not do then the halfway again and have a full understanding? And for developers, as you are the one who is developing the application, definitely you can do manual deployment. But why don't you want to learn the automatic deployment, where you are just pushing the code from your business application studio to Git, and you are 5 people working on a single project, and which is actually taking care of version management and delivering it to CICD, which is doing testing and unit testing, or building the code, doing the code scanning or code review, and and then hand overing it to cloud transport management, which is deploying it to your cloud foundry and Kaima environment. So why don't you want to learn that end to end, and have a good some extra skills, which make sure that when you get appearing in interview, you can say, hey, I know DevOps as well, and definitely they'll pick you up, because these things are going to boom. So this DevOps, what you have, definitely it is evolving on BTP platform. It will have more capabilities going forward, and it will be used heavily in your application development. Why? Because I will tell you a very good reason we have for this. What all the the environments we have on BTP. And yesterday you learned identity access management. SAP doesn't provide you identity access management for DevOps. Okay, so you have to go and use your default identity provider for authenticating yourself to these environments to be able to manually deploy the application, which is not the right way. Okay, because you have to expose your developers' data at least to the SAP. Okay, so what SAP says no, why you are doing manual deployment? I have given you a complete DevOps suite of services. Go and use it. You don't need to go and log in into CFCLI and then manually push the application, but use the transport management and CICD and automate everything. And that's what they pitch in when you'll go and ask, hey, we also want to use custom identity provider is cloud identity services even for to be able to log in and do things in environments where you'll deploy the application. Any are there any certification related to BTP? Yes. So you guys, you have some certifications for development. So if you're a developer, definitely you have certifications for development for both ABAP on a cloud or CAP. Jay, I'm correct, right?
There is just one that covers both the programming
Okay.
models.
So guys, if you are a few administrator, target then BTP administration, okay, or maybe in security and all, okay. So if you don't have development background, you can target then administration. And here I would say you don't need any basis knowledge, okay. A person who is a BTech graduate from computer science background, have attended his BTech class seriously, maybe a bit seriously, he can understand the BTP very well. It's very easy, administration and security. It's all conceptually, you are going to use pre-cooked food to eat it. That's all. Okay. Can we do DV level extensions? Jeff, do you want to say anything on this?
Yes, database extensions can be made. It's a very open-ended question, but it depends on many things, right? Many design decisions and architectural decisions there. But in a in a nutshell, yes, you can do database extensions.
Where can
Yes,
we
Ankur.
get to watch the previous two session videos?
One is there on YouTube already. See, this is the one, day one workshop. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So let me copy this link, give it to you. And I'll create, anyways, I have your details, guys. I will share it in WhatsApp. And there is a channel, WhatsApp channel, where 350 people are already joined. So there we keep telling, we share, it's one place. Otherwise, we have to send it to you separately. If you can join that channel, let me send you the link. And it will be easy. You'll keep getting things. So I ping this day one workshop. And also let me ping you the WhatsApp channel if you have not joined it yet. So where it is. Jay, if you want, you can drop off.
Okay. Thanks everybody. Bye.
So there
Thanks.
is two URL I'm going to provide, guys. And this is one is newsletter on LinkedIn, and there is a WhatsApp channel. Please join here to get updates from us. And we keep conducting these sessions, and we'll keep letting you know. Okay, bye bye. Thank you so much.